The Girls Too campaign is a new offshoot of the Me Too movement that focuses on addressing sexual trauma plaguing girls under the age of 18. High-profile cases of the Me Too movement have shone a spotlight on workplace harassment and sexual assault. Many of those incidents involved career-age white women. But 1 in 4 girls is sexually assaulted before the age of 18. And 2 out of 3 girls are harassed. That's according to the National Violence Resource Center. The Girls Too movement is an attempt to address those statistics. Christia Spears Brown is a professor of developmental psychology at the University of Kentucky. She studies the effects of gender stereotypes among children and adolescents and joins me now from Lexington, Kentucky. Thanks for spending some time with us. She is joined by Public Policy Director of Girls Incorporated, Lara Kaufmann, whose organization is helping steward the Girls Too movement. So welcome to you both. Lara, sorry to mess up your name there. Let's begin with you. Just tell us how the Girls Too movement came about.
Well, we talked to our girls back in 2016, and we asked them what are the issues that they're most concerned about today, and sexual harassment and sexual violence were at the top of the list. So we heard them loud and clear, and then the Me Too hashtag went viral back in 2017. People started to talk more and more about these issues, but really in the context of workplace harassment and campus sexual assault. And we felt that there wasn't enough attention being paid to the ways that this plays out for girls, particularly girls in K-12 schools, and we want to raise awareness about that. So we launched this campaign. I'm
stunned to hear you say that this was the top issue that girls said they were worried about. Does that speak to just how pervasive this is for young women?
It does. We weren't stunned to hear it because we hear from girls all the time about what they experience, both in school, on their way to and from school, and online. And the statistics you shared at the beginning of the report really illustrate just how widespread this is. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't know about it, don't talk about it, and girls don't feel safe and able to come forward because when they do, they're often blamed for what happened.
Which they've watched happen on the public stage, right? When it comes to major news stories. Professor Brown, what impact does this have? What are the short and long-term effects for girls who experience this harassment and sexual assault before they even turn 18?
Well, I think the impacts are why we should really care about this. You know, so it's so common. And the question is, what's going on with girls after it happens? We know it's associated with them being more likely to be depressed, have anxiety. When they've been sexually harassed, they have trouble sleeping. It leads to problems with body image, disordered eating. They're more likely to miss school because the stuff's happening at school, so they're not wanting to go to the place where this is happening. Their grades do worse. They're more likely to have what we call somatic symptoms, so things like headaches and stomach aches. So it's psychological, it's academic. It's social. They worry about future relationships. It's physical. It really hits every facet of their lives.
And we mentioned race as we came into this, and that some of the Me Too names that have been discussed are high-profile white women. But for Professor Brown, how does this issue have an even greater impact on young girls of color?
Well, we know that young girls of color and also girls that fall in the LGBTQ spectrum are also more likely to be targeted by sexual harassment. So they're kind of left to have all the negative consequences without some of the supports that come when people really take their word for it.
So where do we go from here for Professor Brown and Lara? What needs to be done first to address this issue right at the beginning where it seems to fester?
Well, we really need people to...
Lara, go ahead.
We need to raise awareness, and then we need to really have people examine their own attitudes and beliefs about gender and power and race, and really push their schools to promote policies and practices that will create safe school environments so that girls feel safe coming forward when things happen, they're believed and supported, and this kind of behavior isn't tolerated. We need to get away from this attitude of boys will be boys and really look at the norms and stereotypes that fuel these behaviors and address those, and create an environment where people can also be comfortable coming forward to report when things happen or to prevent them from happening. We need people to be upstanders, to call out words and actions that demean women and girls and step in before behavior escalates.
And Professor Brown, you were about to say?
Well, I mean, I think what Laura said, I completely agree with. I think things to add are really talking to boys about what sexual harassment is. You know,
Right.
these rates are so high, partly because boys don't really understand the consequences of some of their behaviors. And so partly it's talking to boys about how do we talk to girls with respect? How do we develop friendships between boys and girls? How do we foster a kind of environment for both boys and girls that's affirming and respectful and doesn't objectify them? Because part of it is that boys are also getting teased and pressured to treat girls this way. And so partly changing their peer culture is going to be a really important part of the story.
And Lara, what do you hope will come out of the Girls Too movement? Do you hope that more young women speak up?
Well, we know that that's already happening, and we want people to be supported when they do speak up. We want them to get support and not negative consequences. We're really hoping to change the narrative and to make sure that people understand this starts very young. There's a lot that we can do to interrupt it, to change the trajectory so that girls and all youth can grow up safe, respected, and valued, and they don't have to put up with this as part of growing up. And that way, when we get to the college campuses, when we get to the workplace, it won't be so prevalent.
Well, here. Let's get to that. And thank you so much for what you both do on this issue. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.